big story moving forward will be that cold air, Reynolds, but for now we will have to contend with those showers here in the east. Time for our winter weather update, and we have plenty to talk about. A lot of cold air spilling in across the country. Are the days when it's all about leaf blowing or weather stripping. Someone to bring that indoor feel outside. For your tropical update, you're taking a look here at the U.S. and while it looks like there is a whole lot of action going on in the tropics, none of it is really going to impact us a whole lot. We did get heavy rains here in Taylorville overnight. Now most of the rain is off to my north, but the Midwest getting a very good soaking this morning. Good evening, Lester. You know, it will be a cold week for millions. As Michelle mentioned, a couple of Arctic blasts are moving in from Canada. Big change in the pattern coming in the next week, and that is the big story. You know, we're seeing some very unseasonably warm temperatures across large sections of the country today and in through tomorrow and even the next day a little bit, but then we're going to see some big changes. We'll talk about that in a minute, but as you mentioned, we are seeing a pretty nice evening in New York, but some showers nonetheless throughout the Northeast all the way up through New England. We're starting to settle things down in the West as well. In fact, look at tomorrow. After a series of storms just pummeling the West, we're finally starting to get a little bit of a break. We'll see one more come through, but nothing like what we have seen. So in terms of the flooding and all of the problems there, we should be quieting down quite a bit. Tomorrow we will see some storminess though in the upper Midwest, in Minneapolis, Kansas City, maybe even over towards Chicago. Temperatures though will be the big story tomorrow. As I mentioned, we are looking at some uncharted territory here in some cases. Look at this tomorrow. Dallas expected to hit 81 degrees, 71 in Louisville, 69 in Chicago. I mean, my hometown, Rockford, Illinois, could be up around 60 degrees, and that would be a record. So we are looking at just some unbelievably warm air settling into the country on Monday in through Tuesday.
Well, good evening, Lester. Things are definitely deteriorating here in Nags Head. We're getting lashed with some of those outer rain bands from Sandy, even though it is still well offshore from the Carolinas and to my south. Just goes to show you the size and the strength of this storm. The worst, however, is yet to come here in the Outer Banks. In fact, late tonight and overnight, we're going to be dealing with tropical storm conditions, high winds, coastal flooding, possibly even power outages. Now, most of the residents here, they've been through nor'easters and hurricanes and tropical systems many times, and they've decided to ride it out. But one man here told me, a longtime resident, that he's just not so sure about this strange storm named Sandy, and he's not really letting his guard down just yet. Probably shouldn't do so. It's already been full of meteorological surprises for us, that is for sure. But this really just a taste of what is to come in the Northeast and possibly worse. Lester?
Still, we are expecting a vote around 11:55 a.m. House Speaker John Boehner, who was reelected today, he promised to get it on the floor of the newly sworn-in 113th Congress by Friday. This after a backlash from Northeast Republicans and plenty of victims who were stunned when he passed it over in the final hours of the last Congress.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm?
As the new Congress assembled on Capitol Hill, a 66-day-old disaster followed them.
If we did not get this aid, this would be disastrous for the people of New York. This wasn't some special gimmick we were looking for. This is life and death.
At stake, a $60.4 billion aid package held up in the last House of Representatives in the 11th hour on the heels of the fiscal cliff vote, a move that put House Speaker John Boehner on the hot seat.
Talk to the people down in Union Beach. Talk to the folks in Toms River. Talk to the people in Lavallette. Ask them if another 2 weeks matters to them in their lives.
Devastated residents from Staten Island to the Jersey Shore say the money can't come soon enough.
Congress is not paying attention. We were devastated down here, as you can see.
Boehner was overwhelmed because of the fiscal cliff deal. They couldn't deal with this.
Speaker Boehner, who was reelected Thursday, promised stunned politicians from New York and New Jersey the first leg of the bill, about $9 billion in federal flood insurance dollars, would make it to the floor for a vote Friday, followed by a vote on January 15th for the remaining $51 billion in aid. The delay has left Matt Tognetti of Toms River, New Jersey, discouraged.
I'm disgusted and stressed out about the voting.
Tognetti lost most of his home in the storm. His valuables were then looted. Without money from the government, he says he won't be able to keep fronting the money to rebuild.
It's been very tough to live these days, but you're dealing with it. That's the only thing you can do.
And we are getting word that that vote has now been moved up to 10:55 tomorrow, Friday. So again, that would provide the immediate federal flood insurance dollars to those who qualify. About $17 billion of the remaining $51 is expected to go to community block development grants, which would help people like Tognetti there start to rebuild.